What is the ticking time bomb analogy? This is a subject that we cover in our Osteo Physio Events seminars, bringing wellness into the workplace. And for me, it's where individuals let stuff build up over and over and over until it gets to the point where a significant problem occurs. This is what I see a lot in clinic as an osteopath, is people tend to come and see me when it's worst case scenario, either disc prolapse, spasm of the lower spine. But what you find is if you were to change that mindset, change all the variables that could be leading to that problem, you prevent your body from being a ticking time bomb. And this is what we're going to cover today. What can we do to stop this ticking time bomb from occurring? So I like to break our life into different segments in order to work out what variables might be influencing that factor and what you can do to help yourself. So if we break it down, we have got body, we have got work, we have got mind, and then we have got lifestyle. Okay. So these are elements of our life that can either be positive or negative. When we look at these from a negative point of view, what happens is they all come together and you find you get that build up of all elements, and then it takes a person to a point where they either have burnout or they become injured or they become chronically stressed. So it's taking that person to that high peak. If we look at the body initially, what can happen day to day is if we're not owning our past history, so we're not sorting out a problem when it first occurs, and we're allowing ourselves to not look after ourselves, not looking after our physical well-being, not stretching, not moving, and not protecting our bodies, stresses can occur that we're more likely to get injured. So when we look at the body and how this can lead to a ticking time bomb, it's when we don't resolve problems. So what I mean by that is, for example, in our past history, say if we prolapse a disc or we injured our knee or injured our shoulder, whatever it is, what we typically find is most people take painkillers, let it rest for a bit and then carry on because the pain's gone away. But what actually happens is they haven't got to the root of the problem. And if you were to take it back a couple of steps and go, okay, I've had a disc prolapse, for example, I need to strengthen around the body, I need to move into that lower back, I need to make sure I'm regularly moving from this point. You own your past history, and again, you stop that stressor from occurring on the body. The next thing that happens is daily well-being. So how do we look after our body normally? So what do we do day to day to look after our body normally? If we're slumping all day and we're stressed and we're driving, we're compressed through the body, it's not in its optimal structure, which means the body doesn't function optimally. So what can start to happen is you can start to get chronic points of tightness, chronic points of pain. And again, what happens is if we're not stretching and relieving and taking away that tension, it gets to a point where the body can no longer compensate and a problem occurs. So again, ticking time bomb. If you're not resolving issues and you're not looking after your body daily, a problem will arise. What might be influencing our body is our healthy habits. So our healthy habits we do daily. Healthy habits. And so for me, this is the nutrition, so it's how we fuel our bodies, it's our optimal sleep, it's our hydration, because if we're not getting enough sleep, we're going to be groggy, we're not going to function as well, we're going to go for the sugary stuff. If we're not fueling our body with optimal nutrition, we feel sluggish, we feel fatigued, and the same if we're not drinking enough water. We need water in the body to help us function. So it's really easy, again, ticking time bomb. If you address these, you're so much less likely to get injured in the body and feel so much better long term. What could be leading to problems in the workplace? And the reason why I put all of these together is because I find there's a massive overlap between all of them. So if you're addressing all elements of your life, you're more likely to be fitter, healthier, and less likely to have injury. So work for me is stress at work, it's relationships, and it's habits. So habits in the workplace. So what do I mean by stress? So if you're working in quite a stressful environment, it's going to impact your body physically and mentally. Because when we get stressed, we lift up through the shoulders, we tense around the neck. If you're working and you're stressed, you're going to be less productive, you're going to feel pain when you're working as well. And again, if you're not taking yourself out of that stressful environment, it builds and builds and builds, your body continues to tighten, and again, that trigger, ticking time bomb, and injury is more likely to occur. Relationships at work, and this is a real key one, again, thinking of a ticking time bomb when we go past that point of chronic stress, is if you haven't got good, healthy working environments, healthy relationships at work, that massively impacts, you know, how you feel when you go to work. So you might be quite anxious, you're less likely to be as productive because you're worried about what's going on, and that will inevitably affect the mind and the body, like we said, back to that stress and how you hold yourself. And then finally, workplace habits. So this is going back to that healthy habits and daily well-being for the body. What we should be doing at work is we should be taking a break every hour, not only for the mind to reboot so you become more productive, so you have that rest and then go back to work, but also for the body, because again, if you're working at a desk, for example, and you're static and you're slumped, you're more likely to cause injury because you're not moving through the body, you're not lubricating joint surfaces, and the body just feels more tense and more stiff. So it's being able to recognise what you're doing in the workplace that might be adding to your risk of injury. The mind part for me, and how this impacts that overall well-being in the body, is, are you taking time for yourself? And this is absolutely key. So it's you time, or, you know, downtime is quite a nice way of saying it, downtime. And so from a general point of view, so even outside the workplace, you should be scheduling, you know, 5-10 minutes minimum per day for you, something that you enjoy to do, because if you're doing something where you're looking after yourself, you're more likely to be happy in all other elements of life, you feel happier in the body, and it means that you can help other people. If you help yourself, you can help others so much more efficiently. So number one, you time, think about it, how much time do you take for yourself? And downtime as well, so very similar to you time, but what I mean by downtime is at work. So during your breaks, are you finding that you're, I don't know, eating at your desk and still involved in emails and what's going on? Are you taking yourself out of that working environment for your break? So going outside, getting some fresh air, whatever it is, by resetting the mind and changing your perspective on a situation, less likely to be stressed, less likely to be anxious, less likely to be depressed, you're feeling healthier through the body, and again, those physical implications of stress as well, less likely to have shoulders up by the ears and everything feeling really tense. So it's being able to recognise mind, work and body and how it all comes together. Finally, lifestyle, I kind of think about it with relationships. So what we're doing outside of work and the people we surround ourselves with and the lifestyle that we lead daily. So for me, it's similar to kind of healthy habits and mindset, but we're thinking of family relationships, we're thinking of normal relationships kind of with partner, and we're thinking of the people we surround ourselves with. So we're thinking of family, relationships with a partner, and people that we surround ourselves with. How does lifestyle and families and relationships affect the ticking time bomb analogy? So studies have shown we are most influenced by the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if those specific people are not looking after their bodies, if they're quite negative, or, you know, they've got habits that aren't healthy, we tend to pick them up and we tend to be influenced by how they are. So my best advice in terms of preventing that injury from occurring is, if you can't change who you surround yourself with in terms of the family, what you can do is take yourself out of that situation at regular intervals. So maybe a walk somewhere so you're by yourself, you know, listening to audiobooks or reading stuff that's about healthy habits and how to look after yourself, or surrounding yourself with different people either online or outside when we can socialise properly again, that you can talk to in terms of understanding your body and people who are wanting to feel fitter and healthier. So this might be kind of couch to 5K group, for example. So it's just stuff like that that you can start to change and start to realise and pick up on what might be feeding those unhealthy habits and increasing your risk of injury. So this is where we looked at the body, so changing how you dealt with your body in the past and what you do now, looking at your work and how this might be setting you up for success or failure, your mind, and are you setting aside time for yourself to reduce that stress, whether that's you time, meditation, relaxation, and then finally, who are you most influenced by, who are you surrounding yourself with? By dealing with all of those, you reduce your risk of injury and improve your prognosis.